Hi, welcome to another episode of Farm Fresh Cooking presented by the Gallatin Public Library. Today, Gabby has gone to the market and found some very nice summer squash for us. Tell us what you got here.
We've got some yellow squash and we've got some zucchini.
And to give it a little bit more flavor, of course, we have
A sweet onion.
a nice sweet onion. I think during the summertime, I put a sweet onion in just about everything I cook. It's so versatile, goes with everything.
Did you notice how much I've learned since you started this?
I'm proud of you. I am. All right, well, I have already gotten some of the onions started for us in the pan because as we covered in a previous episode, we want to let it really slowly cook and get some of those sugars out into it, give it that nice caramelized flavor. So I took a red onion, give it a nice bit of color, and I diced it. So we cut it one way, and then we will cut it the other way. That way we get these nice little diced pieces. So anyway, that's been sitting in the pan for probably a half hour now. Usually when I start cooking, I do the onion an hour before I'm ready for everything else, and I just let it sit there and go. So in the pan, pinch of salt, splash of oil, walk away from it. Let's get to the main event of this because I love squash. I grow this in my garden. I need to go to the farmer's market and get some so I can put it up for the winter. This is good stuff, and this is what really grows in Tennessee. That's
Yes, it grows well here.
It does, and you go to the farmer's market and just about every farmer has some. So pick your favorite farmer, get some from a variety of people. Try it, it's good. Okay, so what we're going to do is grate the squash this time.
I've never done that before.
A little bit different texture. How do you normally do it?
Slice it up
Slice
in little
it
circles.
Little circles, okay. Well, to do it this way, we're going to use the box grater. This one is a nice multi-purpose one. We're going to use the large circles on this, and all we do is run it up and down on the grater.
Well, I never thought about grating a squash.
This is a great technique if you want to make a squash casserole because you get these nice little bite-sized pieces. And so essentially what we're doing today is almost like a casserole in a pan, sauteed casserole. So I'm going to work on this, then I'm going to hand it over to Gabby and we're going to see what her grating skills look like with the zucchini. Now we're doing this with the skin on. Adds a nice little bit of fiber, a little extra texture. You can eat it, so why bother peeling it?
Yeah. Now, are you going to peel the zucchini?
Ah, why would we?
I don't want to. Not one bit.
Be careful whenever you get down to the end of it. You don't want to grate your fingers in there. That's not fun. So there we go. We've got our nice squash right there. Oh, that's pretty. Good yellow color. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just dump this in the pan on top of the onions. We can see they're already turning a little bit of brown. Got some of that caramelization. So into the pan. Ooh, listen to that.
Do you do this in a specific order, squash before zucchini, for cooking times, or?
Honestly, it's whichever one I pick up first.
Okay.
This is a very quick recipe, so it doesn't matter. All right, we're going to chop the ends off of the zucchini. Put that to the side. Here you go, Gabby.
Okay, let's try not
Just,
to lose a finger.
Grab the handle and up and down with it.
Well, it's slippery.
It is. Be careful.
Okay,
You don't
I
want
see
that
what you're
slipping
doing.
out of your hand.
It's so pretty too.
It is.
I've never heard of this.
Well, we get a great blending of colors. It's almost a white to a pale green to a dark green.
And the yellows
and the same with the squash. And that's the thing with this recipe. We're mixing several related vegetables, and we're going to get a very nice, colorful side dish.
I like it. Whoopsie. Well, you're not going to get in a hurry with this one.
That's all right.
But it's bite-sized. This is the longest part of
or the most labor-intensive part of the
How
whole
come
recipe.
yours all stayed in one place and mine is everywhere?
Practice.
It's fine. The table clean-ish.
We washed it before we started filming. I washed it before we started filming.
Okay, I'm about done. That's as far as I'm comfortable.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Look at what we did.
Very nice. All right, I'll take the grater from you. We're just gonna carefully rake that off. Okay, now we just tip this into the pan with squash and onion. Okay, now we need some seasonings.
But we're going to keep it simple.
I like to keep it simple on this because the squash has such a great flavor. We don't want to cover it up. So I have a little bit of thyme.
Okay.
If you have some fresh thyme, definitely use that. All the dry weather lately dried up my thyme plants. I didn't keep them watered well enough, so we'll use the powdered stuff. It works. About a teaspoon worth. A little pinch of salt. It'll help to bring out some of the water. And we're going to be essentially steaming this in the pan with its own water. A little bit of black pepper. I don't like too much in this. Just a little shake. Minced garlic. If you like garlic, use it. If you don't, leave it out. It gives it a nice Italian flair almost. And then we're going to use a little bit of butter.
Yay!
Gabby's been excited about this because I don't use butter in anything, it seems. So we are actually using the butter for flavoring rather than as a cooking agent. So we're going to use about 2 tablespoons, and we're going to keep the heat fairly low. We don't want the butter to brown. We don't want to fry the squash. We want the butter to melt into the squash. All right, so it's all in there. Now we're just going to stir it up.
It kind of looks like stir fry.
It really does. And honestly, the only difference between this and a stir fry is the heat. We're using a much lower temperature. You can see we've got this on a medium low. I might turn it up to medium in a moment, but we're not going to give it high heat because we do not want this butter to brown.
It really is pretty.
It is. Look at that. Now that's the thing. You can use a white onion. You can use a sweet onion if you want, but throw the red onion in. Yeah. All right, so just spray it out in the pan. We want to make sure we have a lot of surface contact with it, and we're just going to let it sit here for about 5 minutes. Give it a little stir, a couple more minutes. If you like it soft and tender, no more than 10 minutes in the pan. If you like it a little crispy, you can cook it as little as 4 minutes.
Okay.
So it's just personal taste, personal preference. So we're going to let this sit and we'll check back in a minute.
Sounds good.
All right, it's been about 5 minutes or so. We're ready to plate this zucchini and let Gabby try it. This is such a beautiful blend of colors. Now, one thing you can do if you like, if you want to make it a little bit more of an Italian style dish, sprinkle this with some Parmesan cheese right before you plate it.
Wonderful.
It adds just a nice extra dimension. We want to taste the squash and zucchini today, so there you go, Gabby.
Tomatoes would be like in it.
Tomatoes are great in it. Absolutely great. Give it a try.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. It tastes summery and fresh and like straight out of the garden.
See, it's one of those foods that I love to have in the summertime. You know, sitting outside in the evening, nice glass of iced tea, some grilled meat, and the squash.
That sounds perfect. I mean, you could do, this is a great base too to add lots of fun stuff to.
Absolutely. Squash and
Corn.
zucchini, yes.
Ooh.
Squash and zucchini have a very neutral flavor, so you can add just about any kind of spice you want to it. You can add all kinds of other vegetables. It plays well with others.
It is
So feel free to experiment, see what you can come up with.
kind of a great replacement for like rice or mashed potatoes or something healthier.
You know, I actually have a little kitchen device that turns squash or zucchini into noodles.
I've heard of those.
You just crank it through there and you get zucchini noodles and just pour nice hot sauce on it, and it's a substitute for a pasta. It tastes nothing like pasta, but it tastes great.
Satisfying the way.
It really is.
Well, thank you, Alexander. That's really good.
You're welcome. Glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.